right, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is still Josh. This next project I'm really excited about. It's near and dear to my heart. It's actually a heart. I'm kidding, I don't make hearts, I break them. I'm a huge watch aficionado. I love watches. I've got a decent collection. Have a couple of automatic watches. Automatic watches is the mechanism inside the actual watch part. They self-wind. So the movement of your arm when you helps keep the watch wound. You don't wear the watch for a little while, it will stop moving, and then you'll have to set it when you put it back on. So people use what are called watch winders. And basically it's a mechanism or a machine that you put your watch into, and an hour or so a day, it turns your watch. You don't have to go and set the watch and then wind it, and then so I do have about 20 watches. They range from $100 watches to $600 or $700 watches, and a couple of them are automatic. So I'm going to make a watch winder. Now, anybody who knows watches knows that watch winders can be expensive. They're not cheap. So you can buy, I think the least expensive one I found was, 30 or 40 bucks, something like that. And it's just a plain little box that you stick your watch in, and it's just bleh. It's plain. You can spend thousands of dollars on a nice watch winder. There's some complicated parts to this. You have to do some computer programming or some writing code for the watch winder. I know absolutely nothing about it, but we're going to see if we can figure it out. Now, I don't want to make a little box. I don't want to make a box. That's just weird. I don't want to make a box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this. Yeah, see? Pretty cool, right? What it is a, here, let me get a little closer. It is a lantern that we bought at IKEA for like $3 or something like that. I got a lot of stuff at IKEA for $3. And I'm going to make it into a beautiful hanging watch winder. I really don't know what color schemes I'm gonna do on it or anything, so I think I'm just gonna wing it. I know what needs to be done, and I'll go over some of the components of it. The actual making it, the beautification of it isn't all that complicated, but the mechanism is. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. I bought the parts, and I'll show you what they are and where you can get them, and I'll put them in the link so you can figure all that out. So let's get started, huh? Mwah! Okay, so here are the main pieces that we're going to use for the watch winder. We have the actual cage itself. This is a tin off of one of my watches. It was from a Tackmeister. It's round, it has a setup. I'm going to alter it a little bit, but those are going to be the parts that's going to be the housing and the actual spindle. And then over here is the guts of it. We have the motor, the cable that plugs into your computer, and then these two pieces here, that's the Arduino Nano, and then this is the piece that connects the two from the motor to the Arduino. This is what's going to make this thing turn and be an actual watch winder. And I have absolutely no idea how to use it. But I've watched quite a few tutorials, and I think I could probably figure it out. Writing the code for it is going to be the hardest part, but I'm thinking Arduino has a website that can help me. So that's the pieces. And that over there, that's my tea. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to prep this up. I've sanded down the areas that I'm going to pour resin onto. Top, this section here, and then I'm going to pour in the bottom. So basically what I'm going to do right now is build some little brackets here so I can put a border around this. I want to use a little bit solid border. I tried tape once, and the edges turned out really crappy with the tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit more solid, like a hard cardboard border around it with some silicone and all that stuff. But before I can do that, because there's no lip, I'm going to put these little pieces of wood on there with hot glue. So when I put the border on there, it stays straight. So my edges will be relatively straight. It'll basically save me more time when I go to when I go to sand the resin down. So that's the plan. We'll see how it works out. Sorry for the rough look, but it's early Sunday morning. What I want to do is I want to get the resin poured on this. I got it prepped up and ready to go. I need to put a border on it down here and on these sides here. And I want to pour the resin tonight. So what I'm doing is I want to get it prepped right now. And so everything's dry and ready to go. I've been working with some different products. This is it's cardboard, but it's a really thick cardboard. And I'm thinking it'll give me more of a sturdy straight line on these smaller projects. I really wanted to use some like really thin plexiglass stuff, but I can't find it. So I think this might work. I might put some of the silver tape on it before I do it up. So I'm gonna cut out some lines for this and we'll see how it works out. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We'll find out. All right, so I am going to do, I am less than confident in my border job here. I'm not sure if this is gonna work or not because the plates are really, really thin. So I'm trying to I put some pieces of wood so I can try to get a good border on here, but I'm not 100% confident in them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a really thin pour on these. And if there's a leak, I'll see it, but I won't lose a lot of resin, which shouldn't cause too big of a problem. So I'm gonna pour a little bit of resin on all three levels and we'll see what we got. I'm gonna make it just a black base so it doesn't really change anything. And we'll go from there, all right? So let's get some resin poured. My gloves on here, because, oh, I've broken the glove. All right, because I hate trying to scrub resin off my hands. It's kind of a pain. And then I can't touch my camera with anything, so. All right, so we'll get this poured up really quick. See how it turns out. It's still Sunday morning, so that's why I'm wearing the same outfit. It's taking a little longer than I thought it was. So yesterday I said I was less than confident in my borders, in my guardrails for my resin pour, and I was correct. I had poured 3 levels. I poured the bottom, I poured this first tier, and then the second tier up here. The second tier, the top tier, and the bottom pour turned out good. They're fine. But this middle tier, which is the one I was worried about because the edges were just so paper thin, I put little wooden borders around here to help put the border up. And yeah, I wasn't very thorough. So I had major leakage, and it didn't work. So I'm gonna have to redo it today, which is fine because what I actually decided to do was on the glass pieces that go inside here. I know you're really not supposed to pour resin on glass, I guess, because it just doesn't stick very well. But for this type of project, I think it's okay. It's not any load-bearing glass or anything like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scratch it up really well with some sandpaper and then pour directly on here because it's already fitted to mold in there. So all I gotta do is just pour the resin over the top of this. Should fit in fine, I would think. I'm gonna try it. So if it just peels up or it doesn't work very well, I'm gonna let it pour over the sides. So it should get a good grip on the glass. Should be fine. So I needed to pour this anyway. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strengthen this border, spend a little time, strengthen the border on here like I should have done in the first place. All right, so what I need to do is I just need to scratch the glass up, get a border on it as well. I'm just gonna use tape on this glass. It's thick enough to where I can get a decent little, border on it. Should be fine with the tape. And then what I'll do is, and I'm not worried about the edges being rough looking because it actually will be hid inside the thing. You won't even really see it. And then also, I want to incorporate, because it's a watch winder. I bought these from Lazada, $1. Cogs. All right. All right, so let's get to it. All right, bye-bye. All right, so first things first, we'll get this glass scratched up. All right, so this time I am so utterly confident in my pouring and my border that I'm not even going to use a drop cloth. This is expert level resin pouring here. Totally kidding. I got one under the table just in case. But I think I pretty much got it. This is going to be a really shallow pour, and then I'm just going to finish up this part. This is the border I was worried about before. But as you can see, I put a pretty decent border on there now. I don't think there's anything going through it. But let's prepare for the worst. All right. All right, everything's coming along nicely. What we're gonna do today is I've got all the resin poured and everything's finished. I've already started a little bit, but I'm gonna start sanding everything down and get it prepped for paint and one more layer of clear coat resin over the top. Most of it's pretty much done, and I have to start working on the Arduino. Yeah, I need to start working on the mechanism that actually turns the watch winder. It requires a little bit of coding, and I have zero understanding of how it works. But I do have a brain, and here's the thing: if you take your brain and you use it, sometimes you can figure stuff out. I'm just saying. So everything should be, this should be finished today, and then I'll get the Arduino and all that pieces put together next. And then after that, I'm gonna have to, once I get it working and kind of see what the dimensions on it, I'm gonna have to build a little bit of a stand or a prop inside that will hold the mechanism and the motor. It's got a stepper motor and an Arduino and the little board and all that stuff. So I have to figure out how I'm going to mount that inside, and then maybe make some resin braces that I can put in there, and then maybe a door, because it's going to be ran by a 9-volt battery. So I would probably, it'll be behind the wheel, and I don't want to have to take the thing apart every time to put a battery in this. So I'm thinking of putting a door in the back here. It's looking good so far. The colors have turned out fantastic. I'm not going to show it to you right now. I'll show it to you after I get it finished. I have to get everything sanded down and cleaned up. I'll show you one piece. I'll give you a little piece. Here is the blah blah. This is the glass. I actually did it on the glass. I poured the resin right on top of the glass. It's actually a little bit of see-through. I think it turned out really good. I've got a little bit of a blue sparkle in there with the copper. It's gonna look good. I think it's gonna look absolutely fantastic. So let's go ahead and get that done, and then we'll move on to the next part, which is the Arduino, all the guts. Okay, so I like the new angle here. All right, so what I'm gonna do on this is I need to make my watch winder wind my watch, obviously. Now, how do you do that, you ask? I'm glad you asked. Well, you have to do some coding. Okay, so, but the basic is a watch needs to wind a certain, an automatic watch needs to wind a certain amount of times a day in order for it to keep telling time. And if you buy an automatic watch winder, basically what you do is you take your watch and you put it into this box, and it will wind your watch in a circle a certain amount of times per day, and it will keep your watch wound. You can't wind it too much, and you can't wind it not enough. I went over my watches that I have, and they range from about 600 to about 800 rotations needed per day to keep my watch wound. So I'm going to set my rotations on my watch winder at about 650 rotations per day. So you have a couple of components that you're going to need for this, and I will lay them out and I will go over them. And you'll have to excuse me if I forget some of the names on these. Some of the pieces, because I don't have it in front of me. So, all right. So basically, what you're going to need is 4 different pieces. Okay, so you have 4 pieces. All right, this is your piece here. All right, so this piece here is your power source. This is you're going to hook on. This is the place that plugs in. This is the thing that plugs in, so you plug it into a wall or a battery. This is going to run off a 9-volt battery. And this is the piece that your motor plugs into, and I think it's called a something board. This is your motor. This is the little motor that's going to turn everything. It is a stepper motor, and it runs off 5 volts, 5 to 12 volts. We're going to do it at 5 volts, I believe. And this is what's actually going to turn the wheel, is this right here. And this is called an Arduino. This one is the Arduino Nano. All right, so that's the Arduino Nano, and this is basically what we're going to program. We're going to write some code and put that code from my computer, plugs right into this. You can see it has a plug-in right there, a USB plug-in, and I'll plug that into my computer, and then I will write code. I will write a little bit of code, and you go to the Arduino website and you can write a little bit of code, and it puts it in here, and then this will tell the motor how many times to turn and when to turn. So here's the thing. I have no idea how to do this. Now, there are endless amounts of tutorials on YouTube and all that stuff, how to do this, and I'm going to watch, and I've watched some, and I'm going to watch them again. So all the tutorials that I've read said that this is relatively simple, okay? And I'm hoping it is, because I am relatively simple. So I need to do all this, and I'm not going to sit you through it unless you do it. So I'm going to do it off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll test it with my little kit here. I'll test it, and I'll show you if it worked or not. Okay, so after several hours of working on this, we got it. I got it. Okay, so if you're a computer engineer or just an engineer in general, a mechanical engineer or something, this was probably cakewalk. But for someone like me, who's, let's just say, not one of those, it wasn't easy. So let me show you what we got. So we have a battery pack, a 9-volt battery pack that runs down that cable to a power pack. I don't know what this is called. So it runs to that. Now this power pack is connected to both the Arduino Uno, which is basically the motherboard. It is the I don't know if that's the right word for it, but it's the computer chip. All the information that I coded online is stored in this. So it's a computer chip. And it goes to this piece right here. And that piece right there is the motor board. That motor board comes over this wire, and it runs this little stepper motor. And I have a little stamp on there from 7-Eleven, so you can see it turning. So basically what I did is that power source runs this computer chip, which tells this motor to turn. And I have it set to 350 rotations in one direction, and then it will pause for half a second, and then it will do 350 rotations in the opposite direction, which is roughly what you want your watch winder to do. Now, I had to write code to this to tell this to do that. And that was the first time I've ever done it. So you can see the whole setup here. This was actually a lot of fun. It was not easy, and I ran into quite a few problems that were some stumpers. Basically, I just got to build a little platform for it. I'll give you a little delay. Oh, it's looking good. And then we'll get it up and running. All right, so we're going to get the lantern taped up and painted. And the resin is finished. I might do a little bit of polishing on it, but other than that, it is completely finished. We got to get the guts inside of it, and then we're going to have a working watch winder. All right, so let's get it taped up and get some paint on it. Get a thing shiny. Got it all taped. That noise you hear is my cat playing with something under the table. What are you playing with, dude? Why are you always playing, huh? The life of a cat. So we got it taped up. Now we just got to get it painted. Get a nice coat of primer on it, and we're almost done. So I don't think I want to show you any too much more until it gets done. You've seen people paint. Not a big deal, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it painted up, get the interior and the guts put in it, get it put together, and then I'm going to show you a done project. This is basically just some finishing up work. I think it's going to look awesome. So let's go ahead and do that. And next time you see me, when I pop back in, which is going to be like 3 seconds from now, we're going to have a finished product. So I kind of cut off showing you the process right at the end. And I did that because I wanted to kind of surprise you with the whole output. When I started this process, I didn't know what it was going to look like, honestly, aesthetically. I had an idea what I wanted. I wanted to go kind of steampunk, future versus past, kind of funky. And I think I've got that. I was really more worried about the mechanical part of this, to be completely honest. I was more worried about making it work than making it look beautiful. So I thought I would just kind of wing it when it comes to the look, kind of just go with the flow and see what works, and kind of play with the resin and play with the colors. And I honestly, I couldn't have been more happy with the outcome. I think it looks awesome, and more importantly, it works. And I will show you that here in a second. You guys want to see it? You want to see the funky punk, steampunk lantern watch winder? All right, let's take a look at it right here. Look at that bad boy. And I'll show you the back. Okay, so I left the back off of this so I can show you what I did inside. But most importantly, let's go ahead and show you this part here. Open the door, and what do you have? You have a functioning watch winder. Let me show you the back. I have the back off so you can see all the mechanics inside. All right, so I had a lot of fun with this project, and I've gone on Amazon and eBay, and I see all these watch winders, and they're just plain brown boxes. And I know it's just a functioning watch winder, but I thought, why not make one myself? It works perfectly. It cost me, actually, from the parts, it cost me way less than 30 bucks. And it took some time, and you know, but I learned something with it, especially writing the code. I learned to do that. And you know, you can never put a price on a little bit of education and a little bit of knowledge. So it turned out great. I hope you liked it. If you liked this video, please subscribe, hit the little bell button, share the video with your friends, and if not, don't do it. But please, if you can, like, share, subscribe, and come back next week. We're gonna do another clock. Yeah, because my cat broke my other one. Next time, guys. Thank you.